All right, hi everybody. It's Bonkai922. I've been slacking with the reviews here, going on like a day late here. Um, for the big three. No, not really called big three anymore. But anyway, Bleach. Gotta do Bleach. Got a lot of things to do. I got Bleach to do. Got One Piece to do. Then there's the stuff for Titans of Darkness. Speaking of Titans of Darkness, after I do these, these aren't going to be uploaded right away. You know, so I'm thinking after I do the thing when I'm doing with Titans of Darkness, this will be uploaded in One Piece. So yeah, let's get into it. Bleach, chapter 565. This chapter was very strange for me. Pretty much what was explained or suggested in this chapter was that Bach, his soul is within everything. And in the beginning, they were talking about him and saying that, you know, when he was an infant, people treated him like own prized possession because he would heal people, men, everything. The infant was blessed with the power to bestow its very soul. And he was known as, you know, he is the father of the Quincy, pretty much. Now, the other thing about this chapter that was really strange was the whole suggestion of that. Because not only was his soul in, you know, all the Quincy's and the Sternritters and everyone, but it's also would remain in the Seirete. And I'm thinking to myself, huh. And then there's this one part, because it was a very dialogue heavy, this chapter, where you see Ichigo when Uryu is talking to Haschwald. And I'm like, huh. At some point I'm thinking, oh, does that mean a lot of innuendos in that was suggested in this chapter? So, you know, I was basically saying about the whole infant thing when he was an infant, saying everything that had been absorbed by the portion of the soul now returned to the child. You know, he basically would give people his soul and it would return to him, give or take. And saying that the child that knew this was the name of the god, the people he had worshipped, this child decided that it would have that point form on his own. And it basically says Bach. Bach. And you see a picture of him as a child, pretty much. And we see Bach, he's in his throne room, and he's sleeping, and then he's thinking to himself, so James is dead, very well, you may return. But I can't help it. Pat myself on the back. Now, what was interesting about this chapter specifically was Uryu. His argument with Haschwald. Haschwald was like showing up right in front of Uryu and saying, I know your reasoning for joining us is to avenge your mother. Or seemingly to that nature. He was basically saying to Uryu. And he basically told Uryu, you've gone to the point of no return. Give or take. You've gone to the point of no return. You can't go back. This is it. That was basically the whole gist he was stating to Uryu. You know, and he basically saying something bothering you, you know, he's resting. He's telling him he's resting, the box resting. He wanted to ask a question to him. To His Majesty and everything. And he basically told Uryu that he is bound to one another. His Majesty is bound to all the Quincy. And basically then to see his title page. It says, God like you. And it says, the truth behind the king. And it goes, like I said, he basically states to Ulyu Haschwald that he bestows a letter to someone. When he bestows a letter to a Sternritter, you know, he basically is printing his soul onto them. He says by writing an initial of the power he wishes to bestow in the individual's soul, whom it would allow him to bestow a more meaningful, significant portion of his own soul. Pretty much. And then Uli was told that this transferring part of his soul, of Bach's soul onto this person happened already for Uli. Haschwald said that liquid he drank was Bach's blood. Whoa. So this brings up a whole shitload of other things. You know, like, what the fuck? And, oh, my Skype. And he says, you consumed the initial in-soul writing ritual. And then Haschwald is basically saying to him, I do not like the look in your eyes. They're filled with regret for your actions. It is too late. I suspect the only reason you agreed to this was to avenge your mother. But you've already crossed that bridge. There's no going back. And he says, when an individual receives a portion of the Majesty's soul, their essence is transferred into His Majesty. Needless to say, portions of his soul have already been dispersed throughout the entirety of the Seirete. And Haschwald, what he was saying was ridiculous, saying the war is nothing more than a tribute to His Majesty. All the Sternritter and Shinigami who possess a portion of His Majesty's soul will be offering themselves as tribute once they meet their end. Regardless of which side falls in battle, His Majesty will simply continue to grow stronger, live longer. Now, when he said that, Haschwald, one of the people you see in the panels is Ichigo. If he gives them a piece of his soul and lives longer, correct me if I'm wrong, but if his soul's going into Ichigo as well, Ichigo's got hollow powers. So wouldn't that mean, oh, I don't know, Bach would die? Just putting it out there. Probably a lot of other people put it out there for the reviews. Because that's probably what's going to happen. I mean, I could be wrong. This might be a different scenario. There might be different implications towards it. But that's what it seems like to me. That's what it seems like to me. And he basically is also saying that wars are the lifeline of His Majesty. Unless he can continue to absorb the essence of others, he will slowly regress into his old blind, deaf, mute, immobile state. In other words, His Majesty will never stop waging wars. That goes for you as well as me, but we will literally die for him as well. We not only live for His Majesty. And then basically saying that the sun's about to rise, His Majesty will awaken. And he says, daybreak, Bach. And he says, I would like to thank the souls of those who have perished. All my senses are still intact. And that's the end of the chapter. This is a little crazy chapter, that whole scenario. I'm just like... And the very beginning was really crazy. Because I thought to myself, wow, Kubo, that was some pretty crazy stuff you were pulling off with the artwork. Very good. I was really enjoying it. Now, basically what this means is he has to continue to imprint his soul into other people. Because if he does not, and get the essence of their souls, he will go blind, deaf, and be a mute. So Bach has to continuously do this. It's pretty crazy. But like I said before, what about Ichigo? Because if he takes an Ichigo soul, Won't that kill him? That's the kind of sense I get from this chapter. So, and what I got from the manga stream comment section about this chapter, yeah, most people were saying this all makes sense now, to give or take. Now, I wonder about it from this chapter, but it made sense. It made sense to a certain extent. Overall, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. Now, I wonder if they have a contingency plan. Because let's be honest here, I just wonder about it because that doesn't make any sense to me. That's the one thing that doesn't make any sense. Why would Bach do that? His whole premise, that whole idea, what he's doing. Because does he know that Ichigo has the soul of a hollow in him? Does he know that? Because that he has hollow powers, he has the soul of a hollow. If he gets infected, Bach, with that, won't that kill him? Won't that hurt him, make him put harm to him? Because, that was the whole bit earlier on when, the Stern Ritters had the Bankais and they were hollowified, and boom, they lose it, and it hurts them. So it's something to think about. It blew me away, though, when they were explaining that. I was like, holy shit. I mean, there was a lot of dialogue in this chapter, but I want to say that he knows. I'm going to say that. I don't know. I didn't see any of those reviews, Joten's or King's or Taking or whoever's. I'm going to say, for now, that Bach knows that Ichigo has a soul, part of a soul of a hollow inside. And that if he puts his soul in Ichigo, then it's kind of a weird thing, because basically that means, when James dies, when Superstar dies, when any of the Stern Ritters dies, their souls go inside of Bach. At least that's from what I'm saying, from what I'm getting at, from what was explained in this chapter. This was a good chapter. I hope next week we get some more fights. Hopefully we get another fight next week. Go back to the fights. I just wonder if it should be, though. It should be. So we have to wait and see until next week. See how this goes. By the way, no Naruto next week, from what I was told. And if everybody was wondering, yes, I'm reading Naruto. But yeah, I gotta do the One Piece chapter review. I haven't read the One Piece chapter. Yes. I should do a live reaction. No. Anyway, but yeah, that's the story. Bankai 922. It was really surprising to find out about Bach. That as a child, if he doesn't continue to get souls inside of him, or do that whole process that was explained in this chapter, he'll just go blind, deaf, and dumb. And a mute. Well, not dumb. Blind, deaf, and a mute. Which is kind of crazy. But yeah, we'll see what happens next week. Man, tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys think about that whole thing. I think Bach knows that Ichigo has a whole hollow side of him. The whole thing. But I could be wrong. We'll see. Bankai 922. See you guys later. And, this chapter also pretty much just stated what Uyu's position is. He's doing this for his mother. But now he's gone to the part of no return, give or take. So we'll see what happens. I'm Bankai 922. See you guys later.